Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Our guest today, former head of the Republican National Committee, plus he was an advisor to President Reagan, President Bush I, President Bush II, Senator Paul Laxalt, and now he runs one of the most powerful gaming organizations in the world. Marlene Lockard has the rundown.
Today we're going to be talking to Nevada's very own Frank Fahrenkopf, one of the most powerful men in Washington with enormous influence and head of the powerful American Gaming Association.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Mark Fiorentino, Bob Barengo, and Martha Gould. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome back on Nevada Newsmakers. We're joined today by one of my favorite people, Frank Fahrenkopf. He's the president and CEO of the American Gaming Association. Welcome to the program, Frank.
Thank you, Sam. Always a pleasure.
Let's start out with, what is your thought of what the effect is going to be on Las Vegas of Wynn Resort opening up in a couple of months here?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be fabulous. I mean, let's face it. Steve has this remarkable ability to put up things. And we look back at the Mirage and what it did, that will energize Las Vegas. I think it's going to be great. Gary Loveman, as you know, the president of Harrah's, head of Harrah's, now that Phil Satry has retired, took a tour not too long ago through the new hotel. Before it's opened, of course, doesn't open until April, but said that was the kind of hotel God would build if he had the money, which is a tremendous tribute to Steve. And I'm sure what it does is, as I think Terry Lanny said, Terry Lanny, the head of MGM Mirage, said that every time Steve builds something, it brings more and more people to Las Vegas, and that's good for Las Vegas because they not only will go to Wynn Las Vegas, but they'll go to the other facilities of the other companies. So I think it's going to be a real positive.
You know, we just had the budget director, Perry Como, on the show a couple of days ago, and he was talking about that we'd seen a 14% increase in the sales tax revenues in this last biennium. Do you think that the kind of growth we're going to see in Las Vegas over the next couple of years could continue to produce those kind of revenues?
I do, and you know, there's a very different dynamic in the gaming industry. If you were to go back, say, 10 years and look, let's take MGM Mirage, one of the larger companies, and you were to look at their financial statements, the bottom line 10 years ago would have been that 65 or 70% of that bottom line would have come from gaming revenue. The other 30 to 35% would come from ancillary services, room, beverage, etc. Today, if you look at the bottom line of a company like MGM Mirage, it's closer to 55% coming from non-gaming revenues. In other words, a majority of the bottom line of that company is coming from elsewhere than the pit. And that's because of the diversification and total entertainment package. As you know, every great chef in the world has a restaurant now in Las Vegas. Any store that you could find on Fifth Avenue or on Rodeo Drive is in Las Vegas. They have golf courses there to match, Palm Springs or anywhere else in the world. So people are going to Las Vegas, particularly, for other things than just gaming. And so that is healthy because they're buying things that are subject to a sales tax. So I think it's a positive for the state.
Frank, you know, speaking of Palm Springs, I was just there a few weeks ago, and I just found it remarkable, the new Indian gaming casinos and resorts popping up. There's been so much talk about the impact to Nevada with Indian gaming. How do you see that now?
It depends where you're talking. I mean, we've got to look at the different markets in Las Vegas and in northern Nevada. I mean, there's no question that Reno, Tahoe, Carson, I think has been negatively impacted, particularly with the opening of the facility right outside of Sacramento that had the billboard saying you don't have to put chains on to come gamble with us. It hurts very much in the wintertime. But in the same run, we've been talking about in northern Nevada for 20 years the need to diversify, and I think it's kind of pushed that diversification. I don't think it's hurt the Strip at all. Marginally, if any. Now, downtown Las Vegas, it will again affect some of those properties. But you know what we're seeing is more and more of our Nevada companies, brick and mortar companies who didn't have any association with Native Americans, are now entering that California market along with them. Stations Casino was a local market in Las Vegas. They, as you know, have Thunder Valley outside of Sacramento and some other deals going. Caesars is now possibly going into a deal with tribes. Harrah's continues its growth with Indian tribes. So you've got more and more of our companies that are involved with the Indians. It's a fact of life, and the hardest hit clearly is northern Nevada, and we've just got to adjust for it. MGM
Mirage, I guess, owns a property that sells lottery tickets down in Southern California, or is involved in that business. The question has come up for the next session, or for this current session, will we see a lottery for education? Do you think that that's going to pass this time?
I can't tell you. I mean, I've got enough difficulty predicting what the 535 members of Congress, all who believe they're qualified to be president of the United States, are going to do here in Washington and worry about the Nevada legislature. I'm just not that close to it, and thank the Lord I don't have to deal with that every day.
Okay, then let's talk about Macau. What do you think the influence financially to Nevada is going to be from this incredible growth in casino gaming in Macau?
That's a very interesting question, and it's one that I think no one knows at this time. It's clear, however, that the Chinese have made the determination that they're going to make Macau the Las Vegas of the Far East. They, as you know, have determined that one man who had the licenses in Macau from the days the Portuguese were running Macau, Stanley Ho, has to share now. He has to share with Steve Wynn and with Sheldon Adelson. Adelson has already opened his facilities, doing extremely well. Steve Wynn is well underway with his project. There are discussions, as I understand it, between Stanley Ho and MGM and maybe doing some partnering.
I believe it's his daughter that they get together with.
So there's an awful lot lot going there. And of course, I think the kind of impact it will be, if there is any, is on the whales. And what I mean by that, the extremely wealthy people who will bet $500,000 a hand. I mean, if they can go to Macau, they may not come to Las Vegas. But you know what our experience is, Sam? I can remember practicing law in Reno years ago in the late 70s when Atlantic City passed that initiative to open casinos in Atlantic City, or the state of New Jersey passed it, and everyone in Nevada was concerned that everyone east of the Mississippi was now going to go to Atlantic City, and they weren't going to come out to Nevada, and our industry would be really hurt. What happened? We continued to grow and expand. I can remember when the lottery passed in California, and there was concern that people wouldn't drive over from L.A. to Vegas or from San Francisco and Sacramento to Reno, and that we were going to be hurt dramatically in Nevada. It just didn't happen. So there's there seems to be, when something like this happens, that more and more people who visit Macau may very well say, well, we want to go to Nevada. That's sort of the mecca, of legalized gambling. So it's hard to tell at this point.
I think it will become the pagoda of legalized gambling, don't you think? Let's take a break. More with Frank Fahrenkopf. We're going to turn political right after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're talking with Frank Fahrenkopf, President and CEO of the American Gaming Association, a man who's been politically involved forever.
Frank, you were the former chair of the RNC. What do you make of this hit piece that's been released on Harry Reid? Is that something that, I can't recall you doing those kinds of using those tactics when you were chair?
It just, I find it hard to believe. I mean, we never did anything like that. And of course, I was chairman when Harry was in the Senate and Dick Bryan was there. And I just find it, I can't contemplate it, particularly because Harry also has just been reelected. He didn't have to face the voters for 6 years. And I think it was very, very unwise. Harry has risen to a point that no Nevadan has ever attained. I mean, we've had a history of strong senators and powerful senators in Nevada, going back to McCarran and Malone, Paul Laxalt, Alan Bible, but no one has ever attained the position that Harry has through hard work and endeavor. And to immediately, when he obtains this job, stick a stick in his eye, I thought was very unwise and probably counterproductive.
Well, my thought was, do they not know who they're dealing with? I mean, this is not a man who's some kind of pushover.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I told the White House, I mean, they asked me early on what kind of guy Harry was. I said Harry is tough, he's smart, you can deal with him, he'll keep his word, but, don't mess around with him because he's a tough guy, and I think they're going to learn that.
The hard way, maybe. Wanted to get your thought on the president's plan for privatizing a portion of Social Security.
Well, it's just one of the hot potatoes. I mean, I give him a lot of courage for taking it on. I mean, he doesn't have to face the voters again. He could have just come up with an agenda of 4 or 5 things for the next 4 years that are easily accomplishable, and then say he's had a great presidency. So I give him, A, for making the effort on something has to be done. Now, clearly at this point in time, the polls show the American people don't think that there's a crisis. And I think what's going to happen, he's on the road today in North Carolina, making speeches. This thing is going to, I think, play out here in the next month as to whether or not the American people really believe there's a crisis and something has to be done. But both Republicans and Democrats on the Hill aren't sold that just the private accounts alone are going to do it. I think it's going to take some combination of things, whether it's private accounts along with increasing the amount of money that people can put in IRAs tax-free, whether or not it means raising the percentage of income that's taxable from $90,000 where it is now up, raising that cap up somewhere. So I think you're probably going to see something happen, but I think it's going to be a number of options to be considered, Sam.
What do you think, Frank, about the budget that the president released? I mean, across the board, it's gotten so many negative comments from dishonest to disingenuous to, and then, just this week we hear of the new price tag on the prescription drug and Medicare. What do you think all of that is going to divert from the advancing the efforts in Social Security and some of his other programs?
I don't think so. I mean, this is normal budget politics, regardless of whether the president is a Republican or a Democrat. He puts out his budget. Anything that's in there that's going to cut something, they get attacked for. In many cases, the cuts, for example, that are being attacked here aren't real cuts. What they are is a cut in the increase from the prior year. In Washington, if you cut what an expected increase is, so that the increase is 50% of what everyone wanted, that's viewed as a cut. So, it's always tough. There's always going to be, the same congressman or senator who has attacked him for having budget deficit, and then he submits a budget cutting that senator or congressman's favorite project. He gets attacked for being heartless. So it's tough business. Budget politics, cuts across party lines, but I don't think it's going to interfere with focusing on whatever happens with Social Security or other important issues.
Do we have anything to be concerned with Senator McCain and the gaming industry in this session of Congress? I don't think so. John and I have had a number of talks. He was quoted recently as saying that he doesn't believe that he can get the NCAA betting prohibition through this session. And he made a snide remark, in my view, of saying that he thinks there'll be another scandal sometime here in the future with betting on sports, and when that happens, he thinks then maybe there'll be the appetite in Congress. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen. We run a very, very tight ship with good regulation in Nevada, but I'm hopeful that we're not going to see that bill come back in this session of Congress. Frank Fahrenkopf, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Come back soon. Thanks so much, Sam. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're joined by a great pundit panel today, as always. Bob Barengo is with us, Martha Gould, and for the first time joining us, Mark Fiorentino. Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Bob, you're former Speaker of the Assembly, now sitting on the Tax Commission. The biggest discussion this session and issue is going to be, and has been to date, taxes. Where do you see all of this coming down? Trying to make the county assessor's March deadline, aren't we better off with Dina Titus's freeze and really then take some time to do this right?
Well, that would be one way. It would stop the debate, and we could then analyze it over a long term. There are some other discussions out there of a variety of things. The local governments have some problems with the assessment, with the freezing of the assessments, a great deal of problems. So we need to work with them. And I think that in the next few months they'll settle down and work on some proposals and try to work it out. The problem, as we've heard before, is it's the uniformity in the Constitution that we have to deal with.
I don't know how many people remember, but I keep on going back to the old Price Waterhouse study that was done when we first started addressing a lot of these tax issues. The thing that concerns me with Dina Titus' proposal is we can do a freeze, but that's not going to stop the demand and the growth of the need of services.
Well, that's true, but isn't part of the problem that we always get in this frenzy during the legislative session? There's deadlines, so it's hurry up, do something, act by a deadline, and that the time of thoughtful consideration isn't given. The freeze would buy some time that in the off session you could have some subcommittees really work on a tax structure that would be a thoughtful product instead of...
Two things. Policy. We remember both Carol Villardo and I were on the program together some time ago, and we both talked about the fact that the state doesn't have a basic tax policy on which you can build.
That's what I'm trying to get to. Mark, where do you fall on this issue?
No, I actually think if we can work out some of the issues that the local governments have so that they can continue to efficiently provide services, because the growth is not going to stop. Our clients are not going to stop building houses. Then I think if you can work out some of those issues, I think a freeze and giving them more time to study it almost has to be done. This is a very, very complicated issue. And it's sort of an anomaly if you, at least in Clark County, if you study the tax rates and so forth, you'll find that the worst thing we could do is come up with a 30-year fix for what turned out to be a 2 or 3 year problem.
Exactly.
The other thing you have to consider also when you look at the tax structure of the state of Nevada, the mandated services by the federal government and what the impact will be on local government finances and state government finances, because we don't know what's going to happen at the federal level.
Very good point.
Mark, I want to jump in with you and ask you, so far we've been hearing so much about taxes at this point, but another big issue this session is going to be water. What kind of things do you think we're going to come out of this session concerning water?
You know, I'm not sure. There are going to be a number of proposals.
Southern Nevada Water Authority, very concerned.
And they should be. the state should be. I mean, we have a responsibility. I've been saying this since last session, actually, because we were involved in a couple of controversial water issues in the last session. The groundwater is a state resource. We have to manage it properly. We have to come together. We have to show real leadership and find ways to put it to good use that benefit everybody, the state as a whole, if we want to continue to grow. When I say continue to grow, I mean both in southern Nevada and northern Nevada.
It's not just a southern Nevada problem. The price of per acre feet of water in the rurals and in the north is going up through the roof.
That's right.
So it needs to be dealt with and addressed.
And it's a finite resource.
Well, don't you think that really the growth and the strains on the infrastructure, water, our roads, transportation, is really going to be the key issue in the upcoming gubernatorial election?
You mean we're actually going to discuss and address the infrastructure needs of the state? Good heavens.
Well, I think that in the up and coming elections there will be lots of key issues. That probably will be one of them. And there will be other issues. I mean, our population growth is putting a lot of constraints and strains on the whole state. It's just not the southern Nevada that we all think about. I mean, the alkaline is now coming back after its problems. It's starting to grow again, and so the state is growing across the state.
One of the things that always has bothered me in terms of what's happening in the state of Nevada and what's happening in the legislature is the fact that we don't have a corporate or an institutional history left in the legislature. We have a lot of new people who don't really understand the statewide needs. And sometimes I feel the legislature acts in haste and then repents at leisure.
Okay, about 10 seconds apiece. Do you guys agree with that?
Well,
sort of.
I mean, I think we are building new institutional memory there, because there are now a lot of people who have been there for a long time. But for a while, we did lose some of the old institutional memory. The old legislators were gone. Joe Dini, those things. But Perkins has now been there a while. Barbara Buckley, Senator Titus, Raggio, of course, have tons of memory.
Okay, so we're not completely out of memory. All right, we'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Until 3 years ago, my medical problems have been very few. I knew very little about the medical world. Then I got pneumonia, which produced heart trouble, and I was suddenly thrust into a whole new experience that was very bewildering and very difficult to handle.
One-stop access for caregivers, NevadaCareConnection.org.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, the folks at Van Dyne Roofing can get it fixed with their eyes closed.
And coming up tomorrow,
we're going to get the federal perspective with Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley.
We'll see you then.